It's good I drink water and
Yeah.
everything like that.
No, it's honestly, I'm excited to chat with you because it's a bit different than what I've been doing with my last few guests.
Mhm.
We've been very much like diving into social media and influencer and all the marketing stuff, whereas you're kind of supporting these people, right? Whether they're
Mhm.
influencers or businesses. So you have your agency Anywhere, where you're supporting all of these either businesses or influencers, like I said,
Mhm.
in personal assistance, right? So
Yeah.
executive, administrative tasks, things like that. So
Mhm.
like tell me a little bit about like what led you into this career and how it all started.
Yeah, so it's interesting because when you're 16, they ask you, what do you want to be when you're older? Coming out of high school, you have to pick a career, you have to make a decision, you have to, follow that from when you're 16, and I had zero idea what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
I initially went into special care counseling. So my goal was to actually work with youth in difficulty, which led me to then getting hired at Batchaw and working with, families in the system. And then through that, I actually, had a passion for event planning and working with like more create on my creative side. And so I started working with an event planner. And then from there, I stumbled upon my first executive assistant role as a community manager.
Mm,
And so, as a community manager, you have to have your hands in all different types of, all different departments in the business.
yeah.
And I, you know, quickly became the go to person for everything and anything.
Everything.
Literally everything. Like,
Yeah.
where's the toilet paper? Well, it's
No.
there. Yeah, like it
You're like,
was
I
you.
know your business better than you.
Yeah, like you quickly become, you do so much in a day that you really become involved with everybody.
Hmm.
And then from community becoming community manager, um, the owners of the business that I was the executive assistant for, they quickly realized that I, had the skills to become an executive assistant, and they were actually on the hunt for somebody. And I remember, like accepting people's interviewees into the office and being
Hmm.
like, yeah, enjoy your interview. And then one day they just sat me down and they said, let's give this a shot. It was really tough to make that decision if I wanted to take on being an executive assistant for two CEOs, because I knew that the workload was going to be extremely taxing and very time consuming. So
Hmm.
being a personal assistant takes a lot of your time. I mean, you're on call 24/7.
Damn.
Um, you don't have the ability to turn your phone off, or at least I didn't. I
Yeah, I was
know,
gonna say specifically in that role, most likely. But I guess
yeah.
for big like C-suite executives, like they do
Hmm.
need that support. But it is
Yeah.
somewhat unreasonable to like have you be on 24/7, is it not? Like, what if you wanted to like
Yeah.
go away on vacation? Are they screwed for a week? You know?
So that's a lot of the times people would ask me that, like, don't you go on vacation? Don't
Yeah.
you like go to the bathroom? Don't you shower? Like, what happens? And of course, like they definitely understand that,
Hmm.
sometimes life happens and you have to, you need a break. You need to be able to take a shower. You need to be able to like do your own personal things that everybody else in a normal 9 to 5 does, right?
Hmm.
Um, However, at the same time, they've reached a level where they need that support. And so they're counting on you to make sure that everything is in place for that when you are gone or when you're not around, they can either access it or it's already taken care of, that they don't need to worry about it, right?
Right. Hmm.
So that's the goal. That was my job. It's make sure that everything is taken care of so that they're not stressed and you're not stressed and having to do their job or your job when you need the time for yourself.
Yeah. You have to be
So
super, super, super organized to have this job.
extremely.
Because like you said, like the accessibility, like for them to be able to access
Hmm.
anything when you're away, that's something in,
Yeah.
having built a business and a team. Sometimes someone's working on it locally on their
Hmm.
computer, but it's not up upload it on a cloud or something. And then if they're sick or something happens, it's like, well, we don't have access to the file. And then it's like, are we going to bug
Exactly.
them when they're sick in bed to get the file to continue working? Like it's a whole
Hmm.
thing. So like developing a
Hmm.
system that makes sense where, you know, all of the working files are accessible. People can go back and make changes, even if
Hmm.
like they weren't the original person to work on the file. To have
Yeah.
access to it is super important. So like I've learned growing my business, like organization is freaking key. So like I know
It's
you know
key.
it. Yeah. What are like some
Yeah.
of the tools that you're using to stay organized? I'm sure there's a ton of
So
apps.
yeah, so there's a ton of apps. I personally love Google Drive. It's
Yeah.
just so accessible to anybody.
Hmm.
It's really user friendly. Like there's anybody can use it.
Yeah.
So Google Drive is one of them. My project management, I use Asana. So it's
Same.
uh, I love it. It has a great flow for me. I know it doesn't work for everybody. Some people like to use Trello. Trello is also a really great one. Initially, I started off with Trello, but then I found it really difficult to keep everything a little bit more organized. So I switched to Asana very quickly, actually.
Hmm.
Asana is a really good one. And then within my business, I use Dubsado for my CRM. So to keep all of my client communications in one spot, that's what I
Hmm.
use. When I was an executive assistant, I used Google Drive because we were on Google Suites, we were on G Suites,
Hmm.
and with the company, that
Hmm.
was what I had to use. And to keep everything in one spot, same thing. I started off with Trello.
Yeah.
And then our communications, we used not Slack. We used why can't I think of it now?
Is it in
Um,
mom brain?
it's Mom Brain. That's a thing. Hold on, I have it here. Telegram.
Oh,
Telegram.
yeah.
So we used Telegram for all of our communications.
Interesting. Can you use
Yeah,
Telegram on your computer too? Or
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I didn't know. I thought it was just like a phone app.
So there's
Interesting.
like you can use it on your computer. You could download the app onto your computer,
Hmm.
same as
Hmm.
like Slack or
Yeah.
WhatsApp,
Yeah,
anything
because
like that.
we're on Slack. Like we live and breathe Slack. That's where we chat
Yeah.
all day long. Okay, cool. So, I mean, what does the process look like now? You've worked for a company for these two executive
Hmm.
assistants. Now you've decided, all right, I'm going to do my own thing and support other
Hmm.
entrepreneurs, but in more of a freelance fashion, right?
Hmm.
So what does that process look like in terms of onboarding when someone either reaches out to you or you reach out to
Hmm.
them, from that first hello to the, you know, initial call where you're actually onboarding them as a client and the contract's been signed?
Yeah, so it depends, right? Sometimes I get like an organic reach out where somebody finds me, they reach out.
Hmm.
Or I get the other aspect where I get referred to by somebody um, who I'm currently working with. So for me, I really, my process is a bit different than everybody else's. I really want to have like an initial conversation with you before we even talk business, before we even talk about like what your needs are. It's really important for me when I'm working with a client that they understand I'm human, I understand you're human.
Yeah.
You know, we have to enjoy working together,
Hmm.
especially because I'm going to be working on, the back end of your business and I really want to get to know you. I want you to be comfortable with me.
Hmm.
Um, and so we go for coffee. Straight
Nice.
up, like I go for coffee with them, or if they can't go for coffee, I'll have a Zoom call. We'll have coffee together. We'll talk about life.
Life. Yeah.
We'll just talk about life. I don't like to jump into it right away. I'll get to know them as a person, kind of like same like you're doing. What brought you to this business? Why'd you start it?
Hmm.
Just to really get to know them, because as much as they're choosing that if they want to work with me, I'm choosing if I want to work with you as well, right?
Yeah, because you got to
I
tolerate them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta tolerate you, but also I have to understand. I have to understand that you've started something. It's your baby, and I don't want to be uncomfortable taking on something that maybe I'm not enjoying.
Mhm.
or I don't know if I would enjoy working with you.
Yeah.
So for me, it's really important to get to know the person before I take them on as a client.
Have you ever sat down with someone and were like immediately like, "Oh my God, there's no way I could ever work with this person"? I feel like there would be red flags at some point, or have you been lucky so far?
So far I've been lucky, but I think I have a really good judge of like, because now everything is social media, right? So I can get to know you before I even sit down with you, or
Right.
I
Okay.
can get to know I can I can get your personality before I sit down. So,
Fair.
sometimes if somebody reaches out and I'm like, "Oof, I've been following you and I'm just, I'm not sure. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if like we would get along."
Yeah.
Um then, I it's a simple like, "I'm so sorry, my client base is full right now. I'll let you
Yeah.
know if ever I have an opening." But
Yeah.
so
No.
far, I've been really lucky. I have really great clients, and I'm
Oh,
so
good.
thankful for them. Yeah,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah,
Honestly, it's the same with me and Nomad Creative. Like
yeah.
you get to a point where you have the ability to like say yes or no to things. I think when you're starting out, I think a
Mhm,
lot of people tend to compromise, I guess, either their values or what they stand for in order to just like get
mhm.
the work and make the money.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
whether it's a point in life or a point in your career where you just realize, like, I don't have time for this shit. And
Mm.
ultimately, like, you do have power and control over, what is around
Oh
you in
yeah.
your sphere. So if you're saying no to
Mhm,
someone, you're giving that space to say yes to someone else who's more in line with you. And
mhm,
there, for
mhm.
me at least, like I've been doing this for years now, at least a couple times a month, there's someone that I get on a call with and I'm like, ooh,
Nope.
no. Yeah. And whether it's a matter of like maybe the business not being where it needs
Mhm.
to be, like that's not like aligned with the type of clients we want to work with in that
Yeah,
sense,
yeah,
or personality wise, because I'm responsible for my team as well. And I want to make sure that
yeah.
their experience working with our clients is great.
Mhm,
So if I'm just focusing now on sales and bringing people on, I wouldn't
mhm.
want to just take it on for the money and then have them have a shit experience and then cause us a ton
Yeah,
of headaches. Like
yeah.
they're going to leave, you
Of
know?
course.
And also, why would I want to do that to anyone?
Why would you put but also why would you put your business at risk too, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that if I take on a client that I'm not going to enjoy working with, maybe my work won't be at 100%,
Hmm.
110%. Maybe the communication will be off.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't provide you the same level of support as I provide somebody I do enjoy working with. So it's putting everything at risk, your whole
Yeah.
reputation, everything you've built. So, you know, you just once you've reached that level, like you said, of being selective, and
Hmm.
it's not selective in a bad way, it's selective to protect what you've built as well.
100%.
It's not a bad thing to tell a client, look, I'm very sorry, unfortunately we're at capacity, and we'll reach out to you once we have an available spot, or
Just
we
or
just
just be
don't fit.
honest. Yeah.
We
Just
just don't fit,
that's it. I've honestly
um
just been super honest and saying like
yeah,
I'm not sure that, like we
yeah.
align, whether it's in our values or like the scope of work, whatever it may
Hmm.
be. Like I really wish you find the perfect
That's
agency for
yeah,
you. And that's
yeah,
totally okay. Like there's so much
yeah.
power in doing that.
Yeah, for sure. And also, my goal with my agency is, of course, to have, other assistants eventually under other assistants with me. And there's a possibility that I'll rethink of that client and be like, oh my God, wait, your personality is going to fit great with, that
Yeah.
assistant I just brought on. So,
Hmm.
like, that's also a possibility, is just timing might not be right now. But
Hmm.
eventually, once I have the bandwidth or the bandwidth with somebody who has a matching personality to yours, we can link you up.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
In
Mhm.
terms of like what people are coming to you for, have you noticed a
Mhm.
pattern in like issues or problems people are having where they're
Mhm.
like, I needed a personal assistant because X, Y, and Z, or is it kind of scattered?
Um, so I work with a lot of creatives. So organization is is one of them.
Usually the issue, yeah.
Um, yeah, usually the issue with people who are very creative, their minds work very differently than somebody who is maybe more on the logistical side.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely organization is a big pattern I see. So they'll have all of their stuff everywhere, all of the information in different locations.
I'm laughing.
Um,
I'm laughing because I'm just thinking, so I have like this weird combo where like I have the creative and the business, like I
mhm.
balance them out pretty good. It's probably like the type A in me. But I've seen like I went to school into creative, like fine arts school, design school, whatever,
Mm.
and like the desktops and the
Oh
file
gosh.
naming. Oh my God. Like I'm visualizing their desktops and like it's giving me anxiety.
Oof, oof.
Oh,
I
because I
it
just see it.
For me it's the emails. It's like email management is my like I love when emails are properly labeled, they're organized, they go into a folder, you know exactly what you're going to type when you need something. And the email management for creatives is just not, it's not there. So that's where I step in and
Yeah.
all I organize from A to Z for you so that when you do have, let's say, an idea or you need to find that email from a brand that reached out to you, but it's, back in 2015 and your emails, you have 100,000 emails just sitting in your inbox. It's like, oh my God, how am I supposed to ever find that? So for me, it's organized. A lot of my clients come to me for organization, and also time management. A
Mm,
lot of them have trouble with figuring out where to put their time, um, how to divide their time. Sometimes they're the only person in their business, so they're the accountant, their own personal assistant, they're the creative, they're doing the actual work, which
hmm.
takes a lot of time as well. So they come to me to really support them on the back end and assist them with, you know, also customer and client reach out for their business. I do that a lot as well.
When you say client management,
Hmm.
are you managing like their clients? What do you mean by that?
Yes, yes. So, um, for example, if I'm working with a photographer, let's say,
Hmm.
and they have their clients who need to schedule an engagement session with them or a photo shoot, I can help be reach out to the clients, do the scheduling for them.
Got it.
If there's any communications that need to happen with my, my clients,
Yeah, yeah.
um, then I become like that extension of my client
Hmm.
to discuss with their clients.
Got it.
So, in a sense, I like to say that I'm a chameleon because I become a version of you to make sure that your clients understand that I work with you.
Hmm.
So I'm just like an extra arm or an extra set of hands in your business so that everything on your to-do list is checked off.
And when you're saying that you help them with time management specifically, like
Mhm.
are you helping organize their calendars or are you giving
Yeah,
them tips? Like what does that
yeah,
look like?
everything. Everything from, they can come to me on a Monday and say, "Hey, I have all this stuff to do this week. Like, can we sit down and come up with a schedule for
Oh,
my
cool.
for my week?" So I'll help them time block, I'll help them
Hmm.
come up with different strategies on how they can get everything done. And then sometimes like 80% to 90% of the time they have a to-do list and then we'll sit down and I'll be like, but I could take that off your list. Like I could do that for you. So
Right.
let me take that on. So I take that on and then it frees up like 3 hours of their day. And they're like,
Hmm.
oh, great. So now I have 3 hours to, either work on another project or go out and spend time with my family or, take care of myself, which is really important as well.
How does it work in terms of compensation then? Because I mean, someone can't possibly be paying you like 24/7. Are you time tracking for those clients?
Yeah, so I
Okay.
have different packages. I have different options. It depends what your needs are. I have clients who are on monthly retainers, but I also have clients who work on an hourly basis because their projects or their needs just vary so much
Hmm.
that they weren't sure or they're not sure if they need me on a consistent basis. So I do both. I do hourly or I do on a monthly retainer. My monthly retainers are usually people who have a consistent client base coming in,
Right.
like a consistent service, and they just need that constant support. Whereas somebody who would be on an hourly rate would be somebody who has a one-time project that they need taken care of, or they, call me on a Monday or they email me on a Monday like, "Hey, can you take care of this for an hour?" Sure, no problem. I'll plug you in here in my schedule and I'll take
Hmm.
care of it. So I work either or. Or I
So
could do a mix, right? Like
yeah.
sometimes they're like, "Oh, for, the next 3 months, I'm really busy. I need you to be my right hand for the next 3 months." So no problem, we'll do a 3 month. And then once that 3 months is coming to an end, we'll debrief, we'll revisit what their needs are for the next 3 months. If they're like, you know, "I'm okay, I don't need that much support," then no problem. We
Hmm.
can move to an hourly base. It's no problem.
And in terms of the retainer, what does that look like? Like, what's your lowest package versus one of your bigger packages in terms of like the cost and what's included in it?
Mhm. Yeah, so a monthly retainer could vary anywhere between $1,000 a month to, 2,500. On the lower end, you get obviously less services. On the higher end, you get me exclusive, pretty much
Yeah.
exclusively. Like, you need anything taken care of, I'm there for you. It could vary between, like I said, email management, social media support also is a really big one. And I know we're going to talk about my transition to motherhood, but
Hmm.
before becoming a mom, I included social media in my packages. Now it will be outside of my packages, so it will be a separate service.
Yeah.
Um, I do also customer retention, so like customer appreciation. Sometimes my clients want to track all of their customers' birthdays and do reach outs and send little gifts,
Cute.
things like that. I'll take care of all of that for you.
Hmm.
Anything that like an executive assistant or a personal assistant could do, I just do as a freelancer, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
brand reach outs, customer reach outs, what else? Time management,
Hmm.
scheduling is a big one. I also can do research for you. So, one of my clients is a creative who they're influencers and I do a lot of research. So they go, we want to go next month, we want to go to, I don't know, Maui's not a good example right now, but
Yeah. Yikes.
um, I want to go to Egypt, let's say.
Hmm.
And then they go find brands that would want to partner with us to go to Egypt. Find me hotels, find me flights, find me all these things to plug in to make one big project.
Hmm.
And so I would put all of that together in a nice package, do the brand reach outs, do the negotiations as well with brands, and then we put together you know, their trip, and off they go.
Can you plan my
Um,
trip?
it is something I do. It is. It is. I've done lots of. I have so many like travel tips from just like planning my C-suite
Yeah.
executives trips, right?
Hmm.
Like little tips and tricks. So I can do trip planning,
It's
research
crazy.
for you.
Yeah, you talk about being like a jack of all trades, but like you kind of are, right? You're just super
Mm-hmm.
resourceful
Yeah.
and figure out how to get shit done, which is amazing. And I feel like it's
Yeah.
it's also a lot of like some of the smaller tedious things that add up that start to
Exactly.
feel very overwhelming for people who are running a company who may be
Mm-hmm.
overwhelmed with like other tasks within the business. And also, like I was going to ask you why someone should hire a personal assistant, but I almost feel like I can answer it for you because I understand and I see the value in even
Yeah.
just having a team and to support me in the areas that either I didn't enjoy or were
Mm-hmm.
falling to the side because I was prioritizing other things, right? So it's like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
write the list of the things that need to get done, and if you're not the
Yeah.
one who wants to get them done, hire someone who will. And like
Outsource it.
exactly, it's so much
Mm-hmm.
more worth it, at least for me and from my experience. It's been so much more worth it to hire someone to do the work that I either didn't have time for or wasn't going to enjoy doing
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
to like force myself into doing it myself. Like there's less resentment, you're happy.
Hmm.
Like, you talk about kind of currency, like time
Yeah.
is also currency.
Money. Yeah.
Exactly. Time is money.
Hmm.
So it just makes the most sense.
Yeah.
I'm
And
curious.
peace of mind, right? Like you want to go to bed at night knowing that things are taken care of on your to-do list.
Yeah,
And as a business owner, it's important that certain things do get done. And so, like you're saying, why not? Yes, you might take the hit initially if you're a small business and you need to pay it out, but
sure. Yeah.
you're going to go to bed at night feeling more accomplished, more um less resentful, like you're saying,
Hmm.
towards yourself, like, oh, I didn't get that done.
Yeah.
I gotta do it tomorrow. But then tomorrow comes and you want to push that task. You want to
Hmm.
push. And outsourcing, outsourcing in a small business, I think, is the number one tip I would give to anybody who has a small business or if they're creative, like outsource, outsource, outsource.
It's going to help you grow, right? Because you're saying like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, you have to pay and you have to invest, and so it
Yeah.
might be a little scary for smaller businesses to be putting that money out there, and it's like,
Hmm.
oh well, I don't want to spend the money, I want to keep it. But think about like
Yeah.
how much quicker you can actually get to your end goal and make
Yeah.
more money if you have someone helping you get there, right? So
Exactly.
that's been my perspective, and that I've obviously shifted over the years, and just
Yeah.
living through it and seeing how things just move along much better when you
Yeah.
have other people to support you.
Yeah, I'm curious, like when you started your business, what was the first thing that you outsourced?
Graphic design, actually, believe it or not. So when I started my
Hmm.
business, I did everything. Like you said, I did the
Hmm.
accounting, I did the project management, I did the design work, I did
Hmm.
sales, literally everything.
Everything.
Even though everyone thought I had like a whole team, I had signed some friends onto like they signed a contract, I put their pictures on my website, but like for
Yeah.
the first year and a half, it was pretty much me. And then I
Hmm.
had an opportunity to work with an intern through John Abbott College in Montreal, and she was technically like my first hire. So their internship program, it's voluntary, so I think she worked with me
Hmm.
for like 2 weeks or something, and then
Okay.
after that she was doing such a good job that I actually hired
Hi.
her. And
Wow.
so instead of, we were working on a packaging project at the time, so instead of me
Hmm.
taking it over, just because I could do it didn't mean that I should do it.
Yeah.
Like it saved me so much time, where she would work on the design, send it to me, I would review it, and then I would
Hmm.
focus more on my role as a creative director,
Yeah.
as opposed to the designer. And so
Hmm.
that was my like first thing that I let go, because I was the most comfortable leaving
Hmm.
that, right? And then it's about comfort too. Like you don't want to kind of
Exactly.
force yourself too much out, but at the same time, like everyone says, like
Hmm.
get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's the nature of growth.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Especially as a business owner, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
have to be uncomfortable or comfortable with being uncomfortable because there's so many things that will pop up that you have probably no idea when you
Mm-hmm.
started your business. You're like, "Oh, I didn't know maybe that would happen," or
Yeah.
"I didn't know I would have these feelings about letting go of my work."
Yeah.
Um, but that also ties into why I want to work with people who maybe have those feelings because I understand that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that it's really hard to let go of some of the things that you're probably holding on to on your to do list. But I'm here to make you feel comfortable about
Yeah.
letting those go. And we don't have to start big. You don't have to give me,
Yeah.
the project that you've been working on for 10 years. Like
Oh
we can
God.
start,
Whose
we
client is sticking around for 10 years? Give me the notes.
we can start small. Like we can talk about your schedule.
Yeah.
We can talk about the trip that's coming up that you need planned. We can talk about,
The little things.
the
Yeah.
small things, because if you even think about your personal life, like what are the things that are like the most annoying to do that you're just like, I don't ever want to do this. And you just do it, but it's so tedious. And it's like, it
Yeah.
has to get done or else how are you going to live, right? So that's where in a business those little like
Hmm.
test to do things on like tasks, little tasks it's the best to, it's
Yeah,
just the best
definitely.
to outsource
I'm
them,
curious to get
and
into,
with
like,
somebody that you
we were
trust,
saying
of
we can
course.
probably have a whole separate podcast on like motherhood and birthing and all of that, but like we'll save that. This is not the podcast for that. But for anyone listening,
Yeah.
Kellie has a newborn at home. How old is your daughter?
She is going to be 19
Wow, crazy
weeks.
how
So
time
she's
flies.
just
Anyways,
coming
so
up to
Kellie had
about
a
five
really cool
months soon.
experience. She did a home birth.
Yeah,
So if you're curious,
crazy.
follow her along her journey because she does share some of that on her social accounts.
Hmm.
But I am curious, like, since having your first child, how has
Yeah.
that changed your perspective, or has it changed your perspective on work, on success, on how you're going to do things in your business moving forward?
Hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it changed everything. To be honest, it my view on success, my view on work, um, my perspective on being a working mom changed like 180. When before I had my daughter, I was very much like, I'm a career woman. I like have to have a full
Mm-hmm.
career. I need to like to be fulfilled. That was what I needed. Um, and I was very
Yeah.
much always the person who was constantly doing something. I was on 24/7. I never had a minute in my schedule to that wasn't allocated to something. And so it was really tough
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
me when I got pregnant, when I had to slow down. I had to for me, for my daughter, for my body, for my mind, for my soul. I had to slow down. And it was an emotional and a mental struggle because going from
Mm-hmm.
constantly moving to not doing,
Yeah.
and not just like doing physically doing, also mentally doing. Like when your mind is constantly racing and you're thinking about all these things 24/7 that have to get done, or just you know thoughts that are you're thinking about how to grow your business. You're thinking about what are you going to do when your daughter's born, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're not able to hop on a call at any hour of the night. That also was really tough to, I don't want to say suppress, but it was definitely an active,
Mm-hmm.
um like
Yeah.
I had to consciously work at not thinking. And it's
Mm.
something that people, you don't realize that you're thinking so much,
Yeah.
but when you
Mm-hmm.
have to consciously be like, okay, I have to stop right now, it's tough. It's tough. And I think especially for our
Overly
generation, like we
stimulated.
are
Yeah.
constantly jumping. Like there's so much stimulation around. Oh my gosh. And it becomes a lot. And I think becoming a mom allowed me to realize that the little
Mm-hmm.
things in your day are what's important. It's not always about work. And where
Yeah.
that was my biggest shift is before I used to think all about work. It was always work, 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 work. And now it's, family. It's making sure that, I take the time with
Yeah.
her
She's
to
freaking cute.
enjoy those moments that she's growing. She's experiencing she's experiencing
Hmm.
life. Like I love seeing the world through her eyes, and like she's smiling and laughing at like me dropping a spoon on the floor. Like it's just like the little things that she's laughing at. And that's what
Yeah.
I think has shifted my work mentality. It doesn't mean that I'm not
Hmm.
not going to have a career, and I'm not going to be successful in my business. I just think that now I have to put into place, on my back end,
Yeah.
things that will allow me to have the time with her. And when I was pregnant, I really remember talking to family and friends and being like, when she's born, don't worry, I'm still gonna work. I'm still gonna like, I'll pop her out, and then
Yeah.
3 weeks later, I'm gonna be back at work. And I couldn't. I had a very
Mm-hmm.
different postpartum experience than I presumed that I would. And that's the one thing that I was like, if I have another one,
Yeah.
I'm not going to make the assumption that I'm going to be okay after. And so that I think was a huge
Right.
disappointment that I've now worked through, but it was really disappointing because I prided myself
Mm-hmm.
so much on checking off my to-dos and work, and then all of a sudden I'm on the couch like feeding my baby 24/7 and I can't get
Yeah.
up, and it's like, well, how am I going to get all of this done? And so I put a pause on my business. You know, luckily I have amazing clients who completely understood what I was
Mm-hmm.
going through. And I also set them up prior to me giving birth. And so I made sure that they were taken care of. And, I have clients who are also moms as well. So they were there to support me through that. And that's what I mean
Mm-hmm.
when, I take on clients who understand that we are all human and we are all living a different experience. Um, and now, just now, like coming into her 5th month, I think around the 4th month, I got out of that 4th trimester and I'm like back full swing and I feel so much better. Obviously, my days don't look like they used to, but I have those little pockets to work on my business to start, continuing
Yeah,
with
that makes total
clients
sense. I feel
and
like even like how your
pushing my
whole
business
body
forward.
language and like your voice changed when you started talking about your daughter. You like
Mhm.
softened and got so sweet. And honestly, it's really beautiful to see, especially like for someone like myself who I feel like I can relate to you in a lot of different
Mhm.
ways. And there was a point where I mean, when I was younger, I was always like, I want to have a ton of
Mhm.
kids and whatever that was in my future. But then the closer I got to the childbearing age, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where everyone around you is having kids. There's like weird
Age.
pressures
Yeah.
from like
Yeah.
family and like people are asking you. And it's like, first of all, it's none of your goddamn
Yeah.
business. Like, stay out of it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very
Number
much.
one,
There's
my
that.
uterus
But
is
then
my
then there were
uterus,
also just like
not
a
yours.
lot of fears that have come
Yeah.
up and things that I
Yeah.
have been working through personally, knowing that like I'm in
Mhm.
charge of running my business and I've been working the
Mhm.
last year and a half to put things into place to be able to remove myself so that I could still run without me,
Mhm.
because I was in a position where I was still at the top
Mhm.
of connecting with everyone,
Mhm.
managing the projects, managing the clients, getting the clients. So like obviously I haven't like taking away responsibility of all of those things. I'm still
Mhm.
involved. I still like to be involved, but I also wanted to be mindful of the fact down the line if ever I did
Yeah.
want to have kids. And it's funny
Right.
because when I started putting these things in place, I kept saying to myself, like, oh, like
Yeah.
maybe soon, maybe soon, maybe soon. And then soon comes and I'm like, not yet, not yet, not yet, you know? But like, it's crazy to hear you say
Mhm.
even how like
Yeah.
you had different
Yeah.
expectations after you
Yeah.
gave birth. And it's almost kind of making me think and check myself for when the time
Mhm.
comes for me to almost give myself that
Mhm.
time to come down from that whole experience and also be with my family and sit
Oh
in that
yeah.
whole thing, because life isn't all about work.
Yeah.
And as much as you can love what you do, like you said, it's about the little things and the little moments and the spoon falling on the floor and the
Mhm.
giggles and all of that stuff and all of the chaos that comes with it. So it's really nice to hear and see
Yeah.
an example from you for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear her.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think the
She
biggest
knows we're
thing that
talking
I
about
could
her.
oh, you heard her little scream in the back. She does, she does. She's very aware. She's very self-aware. She I think that was my, I obviously I come from like my mom is a great example of a working mom.
Hmm.
Like my brother and I, we went to daycare at 7 a.m. and we got picked up last 6 p.m. because my mom was working. And I really took that from her that, life is not always the traveling the world and, with your babies 24/7, and like
Mm-hmm.
something has to give. Like you have to be able to work to give
Yeah.
your kids that life, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the people that are doing that are still working. They're still putting in the grind. And so it's just about that balance. And like I didn't, not that I didn't want to have that balance, but I really
Yeah.
was struggling with how to create that balance, because it's all fun when, like, your
Yeah.
your
Mm-hmm.
daughter goes to bed at 8:30, but by 8:30 you're exhausted too. So now I have to technically go to work and like put in that work, those extra hours when she's in bed, and that really is the only time that I have to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
so you kind of get this second wind and you do it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
really, there's no sugarcoating it. It's fucking hard. However,
Mm-hmm.
it's the most rewarding thing because you're working towards a purpose now. And it's like
Mm-hmm. It was different.
before I was pregnant, that purpose was like my life with my fiance. It was different, and I had envisioned this business for myself and this agency where eventually
Yeah.
one day I could step back and have
Things don't
kids and
always go as
allow my
planned.
assistants
Yeah.
to take over for me. And then, like,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
listen, the universe throws you what you need when you need it, period. And like now sitting back holding her, and like when I'm with her,
Yeah.
I thank the universe because I needed her to give me that fire. I needed her to put that, like, light me up and like watch me soar. So I think I'm grateful for the experience that I went through with her, because I don't think I would be in the same position that I
Yeah.
am now,
I love
that
that.
I
That's so
have
sweet.
her, if I didn't have
Oh,
her,
it's been honestly
you
so
know?
good catching up with you. The way
Yeah.
we end the podcast is with what I call mindful minute. So on the topic of universe and all of that,
Yeah.
let's have a moment of mindfulness. Like what is a piece of advice that you have based on your experience in life so far that you would love to
hmm
leave the listeners with?
I think I
Mhm.
would say allow life to take you. Like, it's not always going to be the way you planned it. And especially as an assistant, I understand that, like,
Until yeah,
you can
until
plan,
something falls
plan,
through the
plan,
cracks.
plan, and something's going to happen. Something's going to happen in your A to
Mhm.
Z plan that you didn't plan for. And that's okay. As long as you understand and you process that, like, things happen. Um, and it's okay. Allow it to take you on the new path that that experience or that opportunity is bringing you. And I think it's a wild ride, but it's like the most beautiful when you really allow
Mm.
yourself to
I'm gonna sit in
enjoy
that.
everything coming your way. Yeah. Just jump on the jump on the wave and just go for it. Like I'm like a yes person. Like,
Let's go skydiving.
you
No.
want to, obviously not too crazy now because I have my daughter, but like I have to be I have to be a little bit mindful that I have her, but I'm always up for new opportunities, and I'm very
Yeah,
much like
sure. Go with
a
the
a
flow,
yes
figure it out.
person. If somebody is like, "Can you do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can. Yeah, yeah, I can figure it out and I can do it." And, it might take a bit of time and research and work, but yes, I can do it because I'm resourceful. I know my
You are
value,
all the
and I
things,
know that,
Kellie.
like,
I'm
I'm a
impressed.
jack of
I'm
all trades and I
impressed.
can get anything done. So I
I am all the things.
I need
We
to
are
put th- I
all
need
the
to put
things.
that on
That's
a
what people need to
t-shirt. I am
realize.
all the
We are
things.
all
That's
the
a
things.
good
Maybe
one.
that's the episode title. We are all the things. We're
We
gonna be
are
like, what the fuck is
all.
she talking about this week?
Listen. Just listen to it. Let me tell you, everybody, you are
With
all the
a
things
little
that you want to
asterisk,
be in
like,
your life.
I'm not.
You want to do it? Do it.
Please don't
So
use
that's
my
what I would.
words.
Yeah, the little asterisk for me would be if it's accounting,
Too funny. Kellie,
maybe
thank
call
you
your
so much for being
accountant. I
on. Where
can't
can
do
everybody
that.
find you on social media?
Yeah, thank you. So you can find me at my Instagram, Anywhere Agency, which is ENYWHERE agency, or my personal account as well. A lot of people can find me there at Kellie, Kellie, Nurse, Nursee. Either or, you can find me there. You can follow my
Amazing.
personal journey
Thank
on
you
my
guys for
Kellie Nurse
listening. I
account or
hope you
my
got
business
some
one,
good
Anywhere.
hot tips from Kellie, and I'll chat with you next week. Bye.
Bye.